On everybody, RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. Hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and I also hope that our microphone issue does not become an issue for the duration of this video. If you like this video, literally that would be very cool. But if you like the videos I do, please subscribe here to the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel. I'm here all the time, basically 24/7, 365, talking all things Dallas Cowboys. That's what we do. That's what I do at Blogging the Boys. bloggingtheboys.com. We're all over social media. Obviously, you can watch my videos here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel, the recorded videos, the live videos, all that fun stuff. You can also check out all my stuff across social, X, Instagram, Threads at RJ Ochoa, TikTok, RJ.Ochoa. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky, wherever you are. I'm there. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys together. If you forget the handle, don't worry. The links to each and every single one of these platforms, including my own personal YouTube channel, are down in the description below. I mentioned it, been having some microphone issues, and we think it's a wiring issue. And so I'm not going to touch this. I think it's working right now, as far as I can tell. In fact, as I look here, the sound is working. And so the goal is for us to survive until the new situation is taken care of and we don't have to run that risk. But I got to be honest with you, I kind of like living on the edge. Today is Wednesday, August the 13th. Happy hump day to you and yours. And as it is August the 13th, 2025, the Oxnard portion of training camp is essentially over for the Dallas Cowboys. Wednesday marked the final padded practice in California for the Cowboys. The Cowboys, of course, host the Baltimore Ravens on Saturday at AT&T Stadium. The first time we'll see them in the building since the regular season finale last year against Washington. And if you've been paying attention for forever now, basically the Cowboys obviously go to Oxnard for camp, and then they break in Oxnard once they return home, and then they continue with training camp at their world headquarters at the Star in Frisco. But as you can see, as I have told you, the Dallas Cowboys have now gone a second straight year, 2 years in a row, where one of the three best players on the team did not participate during the Oxnard portion of training camp. I don't need to tell you that this is silly. I don't need to tell you that it is absurd. I don't need to tell you that it's unnecessary. I don't need to tell you that it's petulant and small and sad and embarrassing, even for us as just fans of the team. But I am going to tell you those things. I just did tell you those things because it's frustrating. This is Micah Parsons. Shout out to Joe Hoyt, friend of mine, friend of Blogging the Boys, watching practice on Wednesday. And I'm just going to say now, I do not want to hear a single person say throughout the course of the regular season, I don't want to hear one person say that Micah should have shown up, Micah should have done this if he's not playing well, if he's not up to your standards or whatever the case may be. I do not want to hear this. I do not want you to be the person. Let's make this very, very, very clear. Nobody is going to say, because the people we're talking to here all have brains, nobody is going to point to Micah Parsons not practicing throughout the Oxnard portion of training camp, and who knows what comes next, and say that it was his fault, that he made an error, that it was his mistake, et cetera, et cetera. This has long been avoidable. This has long been something that didn't need to be this way. This has long been documented. We've known this several times over now. And so do not let the fact that the Cowboys are done in Oxnard for the year and that Micah Parsons did not participate in it in a full-on sense, obviously, be something that we place the blame on Micah himself for. You are better than that. You were smarter than that. I know that you are. All right. Be the person I know you to be, please. I want to talk about a few things here. And, well, one of them is very serious. And I know we're very frustrated with this football team, but I think that I know that we're all going to be civil enough to be able to discuss this in a way that is respectful. It was reported on Wednesday morning by Brad Townsend of the Dallas Morning News. The Cowboys have been doing their I don't want to say promotion, but they had a red carpet event in advance of the Netflix special that's set to release next week. And I have not seen the series myself. I will be watching it. I know I'm part of the problem, but in one of the episodes, Jerry Jones hints at a medical situation, and Brad Townsend uncovered that Jerry Jones has been battling or was battling stage 4 cancer, stage 4 melanoma. Very serious thing. I know that we don't have to say anything beyond that. We all love football. We all love sports. We all feel very passionately about these things, but life matters more than anything. And so I'm very happy to hear that Jerry Jones is in recovery, that the trial he was a part of was successful. God bless him and his health and his family. Again, we can disagree on football things all we want, and we can have fun doing that. But in the matters of what ultimately holds the most importance, all people's health and wellness matters. And so, it's great to see that Jerry Jones is on the mend in that particular way. The other thing we're going to talk about actually came out on what's today, Wednesday, on Tuesday. Now we're going to pull this up here. Let me see. Let me get this link. All right. So this was an article that Bill Barnwell of ESPN wrote, and maybe you saw some clips of it floating around. It's well worth your time. We're not going to go through the entire thing because it is forever long. Bill Barnwell, like I said, does incredible work and is quite the talented scribe. The title of this article, or the billing of it, was that the Cowboys have essentially costed themselves $100 million, right? In terms of their antics with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons. That's just the three of them. We could talk about Dez Bryant, DeMarcus Lawrence. You could go down that argument path with Zeke Elliott. You could, sit here a lot of ways and talk about how the Cowboys have cost themselves. We've always just kind of, I don't want to say said that like it wasn't true, but we've always said it in a somewhat ambiguous way. But Bill Barnwell was kind enough to do the research and assign an actual value, assign an actual dollar value behind how much money the Cowboys have costed themselves. There's a lot here where Bill kind of makes some estimates and some projections, but he finds, let's see here, let's get down to Dak Prescott. This talks, again, the entire saga of Dak. As you can see, it's very, very, very long. But here we go. Realistically, this is with regards to Dak Prescott. Let me zoom in just a bit for you. Here we go. Realistically, we're looking about $50 million and some meaningful, incalculable amount more lost by the Cowboys by waiting to get Prescott's deal done twice. Waiting did not save them any money or prove anything beyond the fact that the organization failed to get the negotiations over the line until it had forfeited virtually all of its leverage, allowing him to sign two of the league's most player-friendly deals over the past decade. That's completely and totally true. You might want to sit here and argue that Dak Prescott's overpaid. If you feel that way, it's kind of the Cowboys' fault. I mean, it's not Dak Prescott's fault that he's really good at business. It's not Dak Prescott's fault that his representation is really good at business. It's the Cowboys' fault. And Bill Barnwell estimates $50 million that was lost by not getting deals done with Dak Prescott as soon as possible, the way we have advocated for the Cowboys to be, the way that most modern NFL front offices are. That being said, while there's a dollar figure there, and Barnwell talks about this, if you read this whole thing, and I can't recommend it enough, Barnwell talks about there was a lot lost in terms of future leverage because the Cowboys had to tag Dak Prescott not just once but twice. That surrendered somewhat of some leverage equity, if you will. It wasn't actual dollars and cents, but it put the Cowboys in a bind. The fact that the Cowboys delayed Dak Prescott's initial contract extension off of his rookie year by playing the franchise tag dance once, it put them in a real bind. And that's why when they had to go through the process of tagging him a second time, they made it so that they seemingly couldn't. No NFL player in the franchise tag era has ever received 3 franchise tags. And that's why Dak Prescott has an amazing amount of leverage. The Cowboys, no NFL team, could afford to place a 3rd franchise tag on him. But because Dak Prescott's representation painted the Cowboys, or allowed the Cowboys to paint themselves into a corner and tag him twice, it put them in a bind where they essentially had to, follow and absorb each and every single one of Dak Prescott's and his representation's demands, because the alternative was inordinately more expensive. Again, these are consequences of the Cowboys not having any level of foresight, not looking forward, not doing things in a visionary sort of way. $50 million without the leverage equity that the franchise tag offers. Let's go back to here. Whoops, I accidentally clicked the wrong thing. This is CeeDee Lamb. Now, this talks about obviously going on and on, but we talked about this. We've talked about it many different times, that CeeDee and Dak should have been extended in the 2023 offseason. And Bill Barnwell notes here that in that particular year, wide receivers Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp all obviously got brand new deals. We knew because we have brains, and everybody knew because they have brains, that Justin Jefferson, Michael Pittman, T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Nico Collins, and Amon-Ra St. Brown were going to be coming around the corner, all right? Now, the Cowboys knew that too, and they decided to wait and wait and wait. Let's get down to CeeDee Lamb and the projection here. What could have happened? This requires, and I think this whole thing requires, I can't recommend reading this enough, but it requires some willingness to assume things. And I think we have seen in the NFL that players are more likely to take team-friendly deals if you approach them about them at the very beginning. The homers out here love to say things like, oh, well, CeeDee's representation knew that he could wait till the last minute because the Cowboys were going to bend. The Cowboys were going to pay everything. All right, let me talk to those people for a second. If you're somebody out there who believes that the players in question, pick whichever one you want, that they purposefully wait so that they can get the most money possible from the Dallas Cowboys. My question to you is very simple. How are all these other players, how are their teams getting them to take these deals? How did the Minnesota Vikings get Justin Jefferson to take the deal they gave him when he knew at that time that not only had CeeDee Lamb not gotten his deal done, but Jamar Chase hadn't gotten his deal done? If everybody knows this, people I'm talking to, if everybody knows, hey, you just got to wait, you just got to be last, you'll get the most money. Do you think Justin Jefferson and his representation are stupid? Do you think that they're dumb? Do you think that they're wrong for jumping ahead of CeeDee, for jumping ahead of Jamar Chase? No. That deal got done because the Minnesota Vikings made it worth his while. If you want to get a player to sign early, you have to make it worth their while. We talked about this in 2023 with CeeDee. The Cowboys should have come in and said, here's $30 million per year. You can be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, and understood that they were getting ahead of the curve. We can only have this conversation in so many different verbs and verbiages. Like, we keep repeating the same thing because the Cowboys keep repeating the same mistake, and I can't even repeat the same thing because it's that difficult. Back to the CeeDee Lamb situation here. So Barnwell talks about how they could have offered him $30 million per year. Tyreek Hill's 4-year, $120 million deal with the Dolphins was kind of the neck of the woods that we're looking at here. But he's talking about this lost the Cowboys more future money. So Lamb, because it's also worth mentioning that in doing deals early, the Cowboys could have taken advantage of the years that they were jumping on top of, the final years of CeeDee Lamb's rookie contract, the final years of Dak Prescott's initial extension that were cheaper. They could have, as we say all the time, created more and more salary cap space, but they don't do these things because reasons. Now we're at Micah Parsons. And again, as we talked about in the opening minutes here, just like CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys have allowed this situation to fester and linger through the Oxnard portion of training camp, which also, I'm going to say this now. We have now gotten through the Oxnard portion of training camp for the Dallas Cowboys here in 2025. So remember this, all of you people who like to say things like, oh, well, the deal will get done at training camp, whoever we're talking about in the future, whether that's Tyler Smith or Deron Bland or George Pickens or Brandon Aubrey or whatever, spin the wheel. All right. There's all these people every single July that say, oh, you know what? It's going to happen because it gets done at training camp. It used to get done at training camp. I'm totally with you. Tyron Smith and Travis Frederick, those deals got done while at training camp. Zach Martin to a degree, right? But we have now gone officially 2 consecutive years in which 2 of the team's 3 best players, CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons, literally did not only not get their deals done while the team was in Oxnard, but they didn't even participate during the team's activity in Oxnard. So you can miss me in the future with this idea that Oxnard is this a magic elixir for the Cowboys in representation of their players and that it's ultimately going to get done because they're on the same campus. Nope, the proof completely and totally proves the opposite. Now, back to CeeDee Lamb and this situation, or back to CeeDee Lamb, back to Micah Parsons. This talks about how the Cowboys should have jumped on matters last offseason, as we have said many different times, but they have waited. Here we go. This is talking about TJ Watt, not obviously JJ Watt here, but the Cowboys allowed TJ Watt to get paid, as we know, Myles Garrett to get paid, Max Crosby to get paid. Who knows who's going to get paid next? But either way, Micah should have been taken care of then. And if he had made the same percent of the overall pie as Nick Bosa had made, that was the initial bar for him to clear, as we talked about last year. The Cowboys could have gotten this done for much less. He might come in at $43 million per year, and that will ultimately cost the Cowboys an additional $5 million per year. Now, to get off this article, and it was very good. It was totally, worth reading. Like I said, it's very long, though, so you kind of got to devote some time to it, and I certainly would encourage you to do that. You can sit here and say $5 million per year. What does that even cost? Like, who could that ultimately be? I don't know. I don't know, and you don't know either. That's our issue. That's the collective problem, is that this hypothetical $100 million that the Cowboys have costed themselves by delaying Dak, CeeDee, and Micah has costed them the opportunity to go and get other help. So when they sit here and they tell us that they're doing everything they can, that roster construction, Stephen, is a 24/7, 365 proposition, it's not, because you are proving to us with 3 consecutive examples of how you could have saved, quite literally, granted in a hypothetical sense, $100 million that could have been used to pick whoever you want. Pick whatever free agent you wanted the Cowboys to go after, or pick whatever free agent that left that you wanted the Cowboys to retain. Could they have retained? I don't know. I'm not advocating for any one thing, but could they have kept Tony Pollard around? Could they have kept Tyron Smith or Tyler Biadasz or Dorrance Armstrong? Or could they have gone out and signed a different receiver instead of trading for Brandon Cooks? Could they have brought Stephon Gilmore back? Again, we can make up as many hypotheticals as we want. The ultimate point is that lost money is lost opportunity, and that is what we continue to scream at this team forever and ever and ever. To close, though, on the subject of money, one last thing to share. This did pop up on Wednesday. We all need to congratulate the Dallas Cowboys because they're super rich again. It was reported on Wednesday by Sportico. You might be familiar with the Forbes rankings that come out that are evaluations of the most valuable sports franchises in the world. That's all sports. That's your Premier League teams, baseball teams, NBA teams, any sports franchise in the world is included in that evaluation. This is simply football franchises. You could call it NFL franchises, making sure this isn't anything crazy. We're all good. And so what a shocker here. The Cowboys are the most valuable NFL franchise in the world. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but I mean, it is technically true. $12.8 billion. And as Adam Schefter noted here underneath, the Cowboys have held this mark, the most valuable professional football franchise in the world, for the 6 years running that Sportico has done this. So in case you're doubting whether or not the Cowboys have a title, we're talking about a dynasty here, people. 6 years in a row. All right. I know that, look, I'll be super honest with you, right? My full honest take on this is I used to be someone who was proud that my favorite team was the most valuable sports franchise in the world. I was naive enough to kind of flex about it, right? Like I was someone to be like, this is super cool. And I think it was cool. I mean, it really was. But you can't lean on that forever and ever and ever and ever. At some point, you actually have to do something with it. And at some point, that benefit of the doubt just burns and burns and burns and burns. And now you have nothing to work with. And I think that's where the Cowboys are at. These things that we've defended for a long time because we've been super loyal fans, they don't work anymore. We get it. You're going to saw the woman in half. Like we've seen the trick. We understand how you're pulling the coin out the back of our ear. You can't do these things anymore. You got to get some new material to work with here. And I don't know, maybe that could be like being successful at the thing that you're supposed to be successful at, not just making a lot of money. But what do I know? I digress. All right. Let's hope that the microphone worked. I think it did. But if it didn't, then no one will ever know because this video won't be able to live. But I am working on a permanent solution. But again, God willing, it made it through. My name's RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on any level of social media, X, Instagram, Threads, LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky. Like this video, subscribe to the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel, and give me a fist pump did I say fist pump? Fist bump, give me a fist bump. Because let's try it again. That was really awkward. Give me a fist bump. Boom, boom, right there. That was super awkward. That's my bad. So thanks everybody for hanging in there with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and I can't wait to talk to you on Thursday. Let's go ahead and let's get out of here. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time and for hanging out. And we will see you next time.